Float number 18. The end is near. And today's float, I was coming off the heels of lunch meeting with Eben, and we were talking about the shift sessions. He had mapped out an equation of 3 buckets of content that are all aligned with the values, the value center. And when we brought in the piece around building relationship currency, he started to express the content as 4 buckets. And these eventually followed the patterns of different formulas that are Ebenisms and were part of the agency. Well, still are, but part of the dogma. And that's around innovate, differentiate, orchestrate, and integrate. And then thinking about the 4 values of trust, respect, synergy, and growth. And they all fall into this model of these 4 titles that he came up with. Or 3, and then we added one, which he renamed, and it's perfect. And it's the integration piece at the end. It makes sense that the shift sessions are collaborative, and it took letting go of any agenda that I had or any idea that, I mean, this message is all around. It's the build your team. It's have a tribe. People have each other's backs, and more than that, it's this web. It's this web of all these talented, amazing individuals who continue to show themselves, or I continue to see better, look more closely, and maybe the unraveling is, well, this is big mask, not just the one I wear, but maybe the layers that are between all of us as we move through our day and our jobs and the streets and through buildings, the way we pass by each other. And the more we recognize the special in ourselves, the more it can be shared with everyone else. And maybe that's what the world is waiting for, is for everyone to show up with their own unique gifts. And so we need to help people be self-expressed. That is why we're seeing a wave, a surge. A surge keeps going. A wave retracts and comes back and retreats and persists and retreats and persists. It's not really a wave. It's more of a tsunami, but a slow tsunami. But it's a surge. It's a continually moving forward, rushing. But it's not rushing. It's patiently. It's lava. Well, lava's destructive. That's a terrible metaphor. Throw that one away. Forget I said that. Okay. So back to building the network. I spent a lot of time in today's 18th float thinking about the web, and specifically the advisory board to Love Church. And I also got off on a trail around Weird Church. You know, get your weird on, embrace your weird. It's your weird that makes you special. And having those as the stickers, not just I believe I'm special or I'm special, but have the sticker be my weird is my special. Something like that. But anyways, back to this advisory board. I started expanding on all the people in my life who I'd want to participate. And the list got really long. Like, it quickly got to 20 people. And wow. I mean, if I could have an advisory board of people interested. As of today, there's 3. So that's a start. And, you know, and maybe next week there'll be 4, and maybe the week after there'll be 5, and maybe by the time the end of the year rolls around and this thing is ready to kick off, we have a committee of people who are creating the missions and the values, kind of like a governing body of people that can help create boundaries for best practices. I think that's going to be important for the organization to be rooted in some civility and documentation, not all just shooting from the hip. Want to create a safety container, legitimize the experience. And if I build the infrastructure now, it could support it, it could give it a stronger base and allow it to maybe flourish more quickly, or at least if it does grow one limb at a time, it's not going to tip over because one limb gets too heavy and the others get ignored. If you have a governing body, they're going to speak to all the interests of the group and make sure it's for the public good, which I really enjoyed reading Shun Pike's Mission again and understanding more deeply. I really wasn't involved when Art Walk Consortium got its 501c3 status. That was all Janine Anderson. I mean, woot woot. That girl, she brought her A game. She managed the paperwork and the grant applications and the bank account and did the administrating. And that girl, she knows how to show up. Taught me a thing or two. It's very important to have your tribe. And everyone gets to flex their muscles, what they're really good at, and show up and participate. And it's been really exciting in my head as I imagine new parts and pieces and components of this experience, seeing how many people it can include. And the wider the group gets, the bigger my smile is. The more alive I feel. So, yeah, it grows quickly in my mind when I think about all the people that can contribute. And I don't really know if there's boundaries. It feels scary that I keep thinking up new modes. I don't know. Do I think them up? I think all these people around me in my life right now that are willing to have these conversations with me and not laugh or act disinterested, but to the people that are willing to pretend like I'm not crazy and go in it with me, man, I learn something from each of them every time. So much more. I mean, even Eben today at lunch talking about just the shift sessions, not really relating to church, but then I related it because I'm totally consumed and distracted by the concept of it. So he said, let's be sure not to stretch too far out of what we know, and thinking that it's more important to limit the content within a comfort zone, almost like just, stay within your lines, play in your own yard, that kind of stuff. And right. So recognize what my limitations are and invite other people to the table to show up as the expert in what they know. And more, I love that. I love that so much. So, here's to a big, wide embrace. I don't know how wide I can get in sitting in my car here, but, here's to a big, wide embrace. Yeah. These floats really help break it down, really help give some perspective. Something tells me, though, with the salt that got in my eyes, that I really should have worn my sunglasses for this recording. But there you go. Raw and real. Rock it out. Another episode down, and maybe only one more to go. Double float on Sunday, and that'll be September 2nd. So I think that officially will mark the end of 30 days. Thank you, Teresa, and Float Seattle.